The Ryan Goodman and Tanguay podcast is brought to you by Fanduel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. This episode of the Bob Ryan, Jeff Goodman, Tanguay Along for the Ride podcast is brought to you by Fanduel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Visit fanduel.com/Boston because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. All right, so there we go, guys. All right, let's get to this. Let's start with the drama, fellas, with James Harden and Daryl Morey. Harden called Morey a liar because he hasn't traded him yet. You know both players, or I said you know both people, the players in this drama, Jeff. Break it down for us.
I don't know who I want to side with. I don't want to side with either, but I feel like Harden's the idiot here in a lot of ways because like Daryl Morey, certainly, yes, he's going to try to trade you. And he probably said that. Listen, we'll trade you. We'll get it done. Or we'll try our best to get it done. But again, you're not giving him away if you're Daryl Morey. No. You're not. I mean, that's bad business. So for James Harden to come out and say, well, he's a liar because he said he'd trade me and I'm still there right now. Like, dude, first of all, you opted into a $35 million deal when you're not that good anymore. So be appreciative of that, right? I know he said, like, supposedly a year ago, he told him, you know, we'll get you. Well, you didn't fulfill what you needed to do to get that max contract. So, like, just shut up already. You didn't play in Houston to get out of Houston because you basically look like you were at the YMCA going through the motions at the end to force a trade there. Like, I'm so tired of James Harden's bullshit, Bob. I'm tired of it. And I'm not a Morey guy at all, but I'm tired of Harden's BS.
I am also tired of Harden, and everything you said, I would just echo with regard to Harden. And you know, when it's all said and done, it's going to be an interesting career to assess because of the success that he had and the aesthetic disaster that he was and is to watch, you know, and I don't know where these assists come from. I think he's bribed scorekeepers, but nonetheless, all that. And we don't know. I don't know what Daryl Morey specifically said to him. You don't know. We don't know. You know, I'm tired of the act. I'm tired of everything. We should go away. Okay. Not to mention trading him. Who's going to take him for that money? I mean, who doesn't see what we see? He ain't worth it. All right. Now, the other flip side is I've never met Daryl Morey, never been in his presence. I have no personal relationship. I have an academic dispute, you know, because I think, you know, with what I call the Daryl Morification of basketball, the reverence to the analytics, the reverence to the three, the reverence to the worst shot in basketball is the long two, which I think is completely distorted, seriously distorted and altered. I won't go so far as to say ruined, but it is adversely affected a game I love. And I'm not alone. I'm not in the majority, but I'm not alone. And he is a proponent of this new basketball that is not as entertaining and sometimes as effective when you ignore a two completely as it once was. However, if I had to pick
Bob, beyond ignoring the two, how about ignoring intangibles, character, fit amongst the rest of the team? Like analytics are great again, but to me, I think you start with the eye test, and I think Daryl Morey, unfortunately, I think he starts with the analytics, and they weigh so heavily. The other part with Daryl Morey is if you talk to a lot of people within the league, a lot of the other executives are not huge fans of Daryl Morey and how and that's why I said it's hard for me to pick a side here, Bob.
Yeah, but easier for me because I don't have any personal feeling about Morey other than his policies. I don't know. Fine. So, but to me, it's almost a joke. It would be a joke if it weren't for so much money involved. There's a lot of money involved, one way or the other. It just speaks to the, you know, where we are in this world of sports money and how, you know, it's just monopoly money. It's crazy. But forget that. Even if it was for $35, the fact is that Harden's days of being great are over.
So he got fined. The NBA fined Harden.
Yeah,
I forgot to mention that
this.
they fined. Yeah, I thank you, Jeff. I forgot to mention that they fined him $100,000 for his comments. I buried the lead there, but I suppose when you're making $35 million, the $100,000 is
Yeah, but I'm a little
like
fuzzy.
us paying $5.
Jeff, help me here. I'm a little fuzzy on the legitimacy of this in terms of this isn't a free. There's something about somehow or other here he's infringing upon the salary cap.
Here's what they fined him for. They fined him for, quote unquote, indicating that he would not perform the services called for under his player contract unless traded to another team. That's why I guess officially he was able to be fined.
Well, shouldn't that be more of a team matter than a league matter?
It seemingly starts with
me. I don't see how the league enters into this.
But I think the league,
I
think Adam Silver is so frustrated, and he has to be because a lot of other people are too, that it's getting out of control now where these players are running the league. And again, listen, if you're LeBron James and you're running the league, I get it. All right, you're LeBron James. But what James Harden, come on, man. Like what have you won? Like, what have you won?
Well, that's just it. That's just it. Is if you're a winner, you could say these things. But you could take a look at Michael Jordan. I never heard, I stand corrected, I never heard Michael Jordan complain about his NBA salary once. I don't recall any NBA, I don't recall any contract negotiations.
We all know. LeBron, you really don't ever, do you?
Not lately. What happened, I think what happened, guys, was when LeBron went to Miami, it was the first time, in my opinion, that players saw other players take control. And they said, we're going to do what LeBron did. And he had Wade and he had Bosh lined up, and they did it. And they won 2 out of 4 NBA championships. Players have since tried to do it, and it's failed. It failed with the Nets, and it's failed here with Harden. And I find it so disappointing with Harden because I really thought he was going to do something with the Nets. I thought that he was going to fit in well with those guys, and it was a disaster. I was foolish to believe it.
Well, it was part Harden, part Kyrie, part KD. You know, they're all different. And again, the problem with Harden is, he's not only a different player and a unique player, which Bob kind of pointed at. And, in some ways you got to give him a lot of credit, right? He's not the most athletic dude in the world. He used the rules to his advantage, but man, the dude knows how to score. Like when he was in his prime, he was a tough.
Yeah, he could score.
Yeah. And to kind of reinvent himself to some degree. But again, listen, you just got your coach fired, basically. That's what you just did, right? You were one of the primary reasons, responsibility-wise, why Doc Rivers is no longer the coach in Philly. And again, I just think it's just insane for him to be like, he lied to me because I'm still in Philly before training camp. Like, dude, you're not worth what you think you're worth. That's why you're still in Philly.
Yep.
While we move from a player that we don't have a lot of sympathy for, we move to a player who we have a ton of sympathy for. And especially, I think, after everything the Ball family went through, I'll start with Jeff on this, with the father, right? And leading up to all this. And I'm thinking these kids will never, ever live up to the hype. And they have. I mean, quite frankly, they have. I mean, the kids in the NBA, they can play. Lonzo Ball can play. And he had cartilage replacement. Now he's going to miss a season. What do you think his future looks like?
Not good. And I feel horrible because, again, as much as I've criticized LeVar over the years, and I'm very, kind of cautious how I talk about LaMelo, who I think, again, needs to grow up, needs to mature. Man, I can't say enough good things about Lonzo Ball. From the first time I saw him, when I think he was a junior in high school, the kid just plays the ball, plays the game the right way, handles himself the right way. I covered that thing so close for years, right? Like from when Lonzo was, again, in high school, UCLA. And remember, like the things LeVar would say, and he said a lot of them to me, about Lonzo's coaches. He would criticize Steve Alford. He criticized Luke Walton. To me, when we were in Lithuania, killed him. And somehow Lonzo always found a way to not really go at his dad but also be able to defend his coaches at the time. Like Lonzo's just like mature. He doesn't talk a lot, and his game is so mature because, again, he's a throwback. He's a guy that just honestly advances the basketball and tries to make people better. Numbers don't matter to Lonzo Ball. And I just feel horrible, especially if this was a result, like some people are saying, of Lonzo Ball playing in these stupid big baller, shoes that were probably made for $5 that LeVar was trying to make as much damn money as possible to try to sell them for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I hope that's not the case, but I do worry.
Football season is about to kick off, and Fanduel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. I wonder how many people are going to bet on the Patriots. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sports book. That's FanDuel.com/Boston.
Time marches on, and he will be 26 years old on October 27, which means he's entering into basketball middle age. And we have not seen enough of him that for his, and it's different. Like, number one, you feel bad for him. It's his life. It's his career. So you feel bad for the team. You feel bad for their fans. And I feel bad for us, Jeff and Gary, who are basketball fans. He's such an enjoyable player to watch. And we're going to be deprived of this. And so everybody loses. Everybody loses. Yeah. And it's just not fair. I felt the same way because he got more out of the career. But, I keep using as a reference a guy you had to see in person to appreciate was Derrick Rose. We didn't get enough out of Derrick Rose either. We got a lot. We got more than we've gotten out of Lonzo, but I would have liked to have seen even more. But now we got Lonzo. I hope that with modern medical science, that somehow he'll come back and be at least 80% of what he was. I don't know, but it's a shame.
And again, this guy was at a higher level, but again, I think Lonzo could have been a top 5 point guard. He was a great defender, and honestly, maybe as good a passer as there is in the NBA. Yeah. In how he did it too.
No,
he doesn't do it flashy like his brother, right? He doesn't do it flashy like Rondo did it. He just gets the ball and makes the easy, simple pass. The guy I would say, it's funny when you're bringing up Derrick Rose, the guy that comes to mind for me that always, there are a bunch, but was Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy was one that to me could have been so good. And he only played, I think it was 5 years, 6 years, something like that in Portland. And he was one that could have been a superstar for a long time in the NBA. I don't know if Lonzo could have been at that level, but he would have been a damn good point guard. And honestly, the Chicago Bulls, if you remember a couple years ago, it's not last year, the year before, the first half of the season, the Bulls, I think, were the number 1 or 2 seed. And then Lonzo got hurt and the bottom kind of fell out on the Bulls. So,
I was about to reference that. I didn't have the specifics, but I remember distinctly that the Bulls were really on the move.
Yes.
And they were definitely in the discussion, and that they are no longer. Just for the record, he's a kid with a guy with career highs of 33 points, 16 rebounds, and 17 assists in games. His career is 11.9 points and 6.2 assists, 5.7 rebounds. Triple-double possibility on any given night. And
yes, and he got better as a shooter.
We all laughed about the look on the three, but it was you wouldn't teach this look, but he did work on it, and they started to go in. So what can I say, Yeah.
The other thing with Lonzo, Gary, that I think people got to know was Lonzo was the one who kind of made that family name because he came along before LeVar. Okay, like LeVar was LeVar because of Lonzo. Wow. Lonzo had already established himself as one of the elite players in the country at that point. And there was some debate coming out of the draft that year. It was, remember, Markelle Fultz,
Right.
Lonzo Ball and Jason Tatum,
Tatum.
all super different players, but all you were kind of making a case for like, all right, like who could go number one? Who should go number one? Fultz, we know, has had his issues, injury, and obviously some emotional issues as well, trying to handle the injuries. And now you've got Lonzo, whose career could be over, and you've got Jason Tatum, who's established himself as, again, one of the top players in the NBA. So Danny Ainge made the right call there by trading,
Well, I also think that Lonzo was hurt by the family perception.
Yeah.
Because I wondered, okay, is this kid going to be really as good as, his father says he is? And You're right. And it's a testament to him and his maturity that he kind of weathered the storm. And I'm sure it's, his father's looking out for his kids and he wants to protect the brand and so forth. But, he weathered that storm and he came out and he kind of was his own guy, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. The question I have is, and you guys probably don't know the answer to this because you're not doctors, the cartilage transplant. I've never heard of that. That's rare.
Doesn't sound good. The other thing I'll say is, and again, between the shoes and between the workout regimen, Dad would have the kid running hills in Chino Hills. He'd have him running up and down the hills, probably in the sweltering heat. I've been to the house. I don't know if they still live there or not, but in the back and behind the house, they have this like little tiny court. And I just think my guess is he played too much too. Like he played too much. Like it was constantly training and working, and Lonzo loved to play ball. He did. He really didn't have anything else as a high schooler. He just wanted to play ball. And again, I love Lonzo because he was about the right things, or he is about the right things. I'm talking about him like he's in the past tense. Which is awful, but he's about the right things. And it's about, again, he doesn't want the attention. He never has. Like I've never seen a kid. I went to his Lakers workout coming out of college before the NBA draft. I remember ESPN sent me out there for it. And he did after the workout, you go in front of a mass group of media. And I remember counting, like it was like a 5-minute interview. And like the average amount of words answered per question was like 8 for every. They kept hitting him with questions, and it was like nothing. He just doesn't care. Like not disrespectful, not rude. Just didn't love the game of dealing with media. Just wanted to play ball.
Yeah. Guys, we're gonna have the Porzingis watch because last year, I believe, was the most games he's played in his career with Washington. Wow. So he's going to miss the FIBA tournament. He's got plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
When I think of plantar, I don't think a big deal, Bob.
I've had it. I just had it recently.
Oh, here we go. Jeff Goodman is going to talk about being an injured NBA player based on his experience, Bob Ryan.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, well, all right, Jeff, go ahead. Then I'll ask Bob's response. I mean, do we have to be on the Porzingis watch with the 7'3" guy dealing with injuries?
All I'll tell you is it took 8 months for me. Like I eventually went to rehab, like physical therapy, just to try to figure it out. Like I wore this kind of contraption at night.
Oh yeah.
Obviously he's going to have better care than I had. So you would think it won't take 8 months, but at first you're just like, all right, my foot hurts like hell. I can't walk. It's really a pain tolerance thing than anything else. Like I remember I played ball throughout it and it hurt like hell. But you could play through it. It's a pain tolerance thing as much as anything else. Obviously, he's going to get good care. I would think it'll be, but they don't know when it'll go away. It's not like there's a timetable that anybody can put on plantar fasciitis. It's a pain threshold thing, and for me, it just went away one day. 8 months in.
Talking, fact is they are talking 4 to 6 weeks. So I don't know where they get that from. I got to tell you, not funny. It isn't funny, but interesting. Never heard of this phenomenon in my life. And first game of the 1976 playoffs, the Celtics played the Buffalo Braves, and they win the game. And we go back to the Garden the next morning for practice, and Havlicek is wheeled in. Whoa, What's this? Played last night, had his usual game. got something wrong with his foot. This phenomenon called plantar fasciitis. Never heard of it. A torn plantar fascia. And this is the first I ever heard of it in 1976 with Havlicek. He missed game 2, by the way, and only one game, missed game 2. And then for the entirety of the rest of the playoffs, 3 series, he had to soak his foot. They told him, soak your foot in ice for 3 hours a day. So, of course, he did it for 6. Figured if 3's good, 6 is twice as good. And Bob Ryan, was his buddy, escorting him around the playoffs. He took a turquoise dishpan on the road for the rest of the series of playoffs and soaked his foot. And I sat there and watched TV with him while he soaked his feet.
Did you rub his foot too, Bob? Did you rub his foot after he was done?
I offered only empathy, but no physical. But I sat there with John and many a night in the hotel room, and as he watched TV and he soaked his feet.
Seriously? You were sitting there while he's soaking his feet.
It was a different time, Jeff.
Like I can't even fathom this now, Bob.
He stayed at Paul Westfall's house during the 76 championship.
I get it. But like, just still, that's amazing.
Cowards told Bob he was retiring before he told Red. I mean,
and I did John's book, and that's how I start the book, John, with the turquoise dishpan that he took around the NBA circuit in the 76 finals, which of course they won.
I'm shocked that you're not going to, be doing that for Porzingis. Maybe you should offer.
There you go.
I mean, I got John through a playoff series, so
there you go. We know you guys both have very busy schedules. Do you have a quick thought on Team USA, Jeff? Did you want to say anything on that?
Bob watched more than I did. I try not to watch these friendly, meaningless games. So I watched the end of it.
I have a great curiosity about this team, and I did watch the whole game. It was convenient, 12 noon, perfect. Before baseball started, it was great. I loved it. I watched. So when it was over, I said, am I supposed to feel good or bad? Do I feel good because they won the game, comes out for 16 down, or do I feel bad because they were 16 down? Right. And of course, a happy face. Steve Kerr put a happy face on it. Shows our grit. Blah 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 blah. Okay, here's my takeaway. And this is the takeaway that Kerr offered the world. Our guy is Anthony Edwards. He's our guy now. He's our stud. He's our fulcrum. He's our star. We're building this team around Anthony Edwards. That's the thing he's announcing to the world. My takeaway, the interesting one, was the comeback. In the comeback, one of my favorite players was sitting watching, and that's Jalen Brunson, as Tyrese Halliburton played very well, and the other guy. And we got a glimpse of him in the playoffs. Maybe you were ready, Jeff, but I was not ready for this guy to do anything on this earth. And he was good again. Austin Reeves came up big in this game. All right, Germany played really well to get that lead. They had the Wagner brothers, and they had, of course, Schroeder, who played well, and our old friend Daniel Tice.
Yes,
and Tice, and in fact, but. I don't. So what do you just in the abstract, Jeff? What would your reaction be to us needing to come from 16 back to beat Germany?
I mean, listen, again, when you look at this roster, you're like, all right, is there a dude on the roster that's really a top 15 player in the NBA? No. The answer is no. I mean, like Jalen Brunson, love him. He's probably in that 25 range. Yeah. Anthony Edwards might be a top 10.
He's on his way.
He might get there. I still want to see Anthony Edwards do it for a winning team. I watched him on a Georgia team in college win like 8 games.
Yeah.
I mean, they're atrocious. And Minnesota, they were better last year, but I still want to see him do it and be a winning basketball player. So, I'm not really interested in this yet. I will be when the games matter, but I'm not there yet, Bob.
All right. Well, but I needed to get a feel. I had no feel for him. I wanted to try to get some kind of a feel before it starts because I don't know about game time. I don't know how much we're going to be able to see in the beginning in terms of game times. I have no idea. The games are in. They're in Manila. And
Bob, what I would say is next time there's a exhibition game on at 12:30 during the day, go out. Get some sun, go to the beach instead. It will be much more.
That's why they call him the commissioner. All right, gentlemen. Jeff, good to see you. Bob, always a pleasure. This episode of the Bob Bryant, Jeff Goodman, Tanguay Along for the Ride podcast, brought to you by Fanduel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Visit fanduel.com/Boston. Gentlemen, until next time, we'll see you later.
All right.
CLNS Media Network is powered by Fanduel Sportsbook. Visit fanduel.com/Boston and start earning bonus bets when you bet on a Super Bowl winner. You can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season.